Hi everyone, it's Reverend Laurie with Unity of Ocala. Happy Wednesday. I love Wednesdays. I love all days, depending on what's going on in those days. But as I've been sharing with you this month, October, one of my favorite months, I'm taking time to do an inner exploration of what's going on in my life, what's been going on in all of these nearly 60 years, and how I want to progress from here. What things I'm ready to let go of, what things I'm ready to really embrace and treasure, even the painful parts. And so I'm using a few spiritual gurus and guides along my way. One is Michelle Obama in this wonderful guided journal book on becoming. I loved that book, Becoming. And I'm really starting to observe those things that I'm drawn to in this month of zeal. I'm looking at those things that perk something in me, either pique my curiosity or prickle my senses, or I find myself feeling disgusted or surprised or angry or excited or curious, whatever is serving as a trigger in whatever way. I want to look at it. I want to see where that's coming from. You know, one of the things that I'm finding in a lot of folks that I'm working with and speaking with is there's a lot of under the surface grief going on. In all of us, we hold grief of whatever we've gone through. Life is filled with trauma and drama and pain, along with the joy and the magic and the mystery. And so often we bury that grief or just push ourselves through it without honoring that human part of us to heal from that and learn from that grief. We've all had grief in our life. I've had a lot of grief and I've dealt with a lot of it. Ministerial school gave me a lot of tools to help me discover where that grief lies and what it has come to teach me and how it can propel me. I have found through my own personal grief a greater sense of myself and my empathy towards others and my compassion for those suffering with grief. So I'm exploring all of those things with folks, and I hope you're coming along the ride with us because it's a joyous adventure to really peel away those layers internally of what makes us us. You know, I look at my grandchildren and I'm so fortunate to have them near. I have 4 grandchildren from the ages of 17 to 1 year old. And even those that are brother and sister and sisters are totally different. I look at my 1 year old granddaughter, Sailor Grace, and she is totally different than her sister, Kinsley, who you've met. She helps me at the store from time to time when it's her art class Friday. And when she was 1, she was totally different than Sailor Grace. They are 2 distinct personalities. Moms and grandmas, you know what I'm talking about. 2 completely different children. And I see that as a marvel because even though they came through the same channel, raised in the same home, same foods, same relatives, they are 2 completely different children. And I love this because they are individual thumbprints of God, an aspect of the divine unlike any other. So I'm looking at the ways in which I was at 1 year old, at 5 years old, and now at 59 and 360 days. How am I different and how am I the same? Because I believe from birth to 6 or 7, you are authentic. And then somehow along the way, that authenticism begins to wear away. I know for me, after my father died at 29 years old and left a family of 4 children and a widow, in new territory, unfamiliar territory. And at that time in 1969, we didn't talk about it. We just pushed it down and moved through. My mother, my hero, was a champion at being joyous and always serving her highest good and serving others. So I learned a lot from that. But I didn't learn how to deal with grief. And that type of grief and not dealing with it, even at an early age, can cause you to make decisions and choices that you normally would not if you would have stayed your 5-year-old self. So I'm exploring that. And I'd like you to come along with me and share with me what you're struggling with, where your grief lies. Let's take this journey together. We are a human family. And I find myself, I love turning to my art when I'm feeling lost or curious or trying to get new direction and a new page. I turn to art and I turn to the parts that are fascinating me. I try not to go back to my old strongholds that I know will balance me and improve on that. Instead, I want to try something I haven't tried before. I want to stretch. And I've been really drawn this month, these last few months, to basket weaving. These are pine needles that you pick up from your yard, an embroidery thread. What those Native American Indians and tribes all over the planet knew is mind-blowing. But I've been exploring with different textures and colors and styles and designs, and I'm just amazed at how it fascinates me to start putting these strands together and creating something out of basically twigs. Like all art, it intrigues me that we form something through our imagination and perhaps a little instruction into something that wasn't there before. And there's not another one on the planet like it. So I took this into meditation this morning, and I asked my journal, my friend, and my spirit guides, why is it basketry that has me so fascinated? And I just let that seep in, and I've let that the last few days. And something, that familiar inner voice that we come to love and trust and know as that divine whisper, something shared with me that it's not just the process of bringing these basic earthly twigs and leaves and needles together. It's the combining and the uniting. And I realized as I wrote that out and as I let that voice speak through me, that I'm feeling really separated. I'm feeling separated from my church family, which I'm just getting to know and love. I'm feeling separated from my family. I'm feeling separated from my world, from my other loves of teaching and sharing and meeting and gathering. I'm feeling separated, and I know we all are connected. So we're all feeling a sense of loss, of connectedness. And so I'm just looking at how that's affecting maybe some of the decisions we're making. Some of us are in a great hurry to get back to whatever normal was, if it was normal at all, just to have that sense of balance. Others are too concerned to rush to things for fear we'll lose even more people. So I'm not trying to resolve anything. I know our church is going to be part of the great ongoing recovery. We're going to partner with other organizations that are taking businesses to the next level, taking education to the next level, taking everything we do to the next level, to a smarter, more efficient, more evolved method. So I know for mine right now to do is to carry on with the mission that God has given me right here, to be with you on Wednesdays and on Sundays and in small groups, in sacred gatherings, and on the phone, in counseling, in prayer every day at 11, as we all together weave this separateness back together. It's one of the things I love about baking challah bread on Fridays for Shabbat. It is the dividing of the dough and braiding it together. The woman is assigned this extraordinary task because it is the woman's responsibility to first bring the light of God into the home and remind everyone in that home of the sacredness of the divine. We welcome Shabbat. We welcome that beautiful bride. The women light the candles and bring in that gracious spirit. Kinsley loves to do that with me as we light Shabbat candles. She loves to bake the bread with me as I let her braid it. And the braiding of the challah bread signifies the bringing together of the family, because that is what the feminine aspect of the divine does. It unites, it reunites, it reattaches, it remembers the core heart of God. So share your art with me this week. Let me know what's going on underneath the layers. I'm going to leave our time today. You all remember Sarah von Brethnock, the woman that wrote the Gratitude Journals. She was on Oprah several times. This is one of my favorite books, Romancing the Ordinary. I love this woman. My mother and I went and saw her at St. Pete College many years ago when she first started really beginning to share her work. And I'll share that with you throughout these Wednesday lessons, because her journey, has been extraordinary. But this book is all about the different months and how in each and every ordinary day, there are amazing, extraordinary things going on. And that includes in us. And she wrote a quote by Feria Stark from 1942, and it's called What Lies Beneath. Take this in as you explore your inner canvas, and then share it with me. What lies beneath? Freshness trembles beneath the surface of every day. A joy perpetual to all who catch its opal lights beneath the dust of habits. Think about that. Share your thoughts with me. I love you. God loves you. We'll see you Sunday. We're exploring the possibilities of zeal. Take care.